What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here. Yes, the banking crisis has come to sports cards. We're going to touch on a few different things today. The banking nonsense has seemed to be affecting some payment providers from some platforms. We are seeing that across the board. We're going to run through those real quick. A bunch of these different marketplaces seem to be having issues suddenly doing ACH transfers, mostly through one particular payment provider, Circle, I believe is the one in question. And this kind of all stems back to that banking stuff. But the other thing, which we haven't talked about yet on the channel because I had a bunch of grading reveals and all that other nonsense going on, is the Dibbs thing, which I think kind of ties into that a little bit. So we'll just kind of knock these all out in one. First, Dibbs, big fractional share company that came onto the scene during the peak of the market. I know Jeff at Sports Card Investor was big behind it. I tried them out. I deposited 25 bucks, I think, when Jeff did that initial video on it. I was never been a big fractional company guy at all. It's just not my thing. I want to hold the stuff in my hand. I want to look at it. I want to have it on my desk. I just never personally believed in this model long term. That was just me. So I kind of generally steered clear of most of the fractional share places. Dibbs was the one that I did try out. I figure and a lot of it was just so I had some sort of knowledge base on the back end on kind of how these things worked, just as a content creator more than anything else. So I figured, let me throw 25 bucks on here and kind of see what this thing's all about. And it was fine. It wasn't really any fun. I didn't really ever do anything with it. I don't even think I did a video about it. It was just more so I kind of had a feel for what was going on with it. I could tell you across the board, the amount of emails, especially during the peak and late peak of the market, that I got from, I'm not citing anyone in particular, but fractional share companies in general wanting to do sponsorship stuff was high. I was getting one every couple weeks on the regular for a really long time from various different ones. And I constantly turn them down because anyone that's watched the channel for a while knows if I don't actually use the product, I'm not going to take sponsorship or affiliate or whatever money from it. And I never liked the fractional companies. They weren't for me. Some people like them. That's perfectly fine. More power to them. But it wasn't for me, so I wasn't going to do sponsorship work for them or ad work for them, whatever the case might be. But they were very aggressive in that space. I could tell you that. And once again, not naming anyone in particular, just in general, they were all pretty aggressive on the marketing front. But Dibbs is closing on down. Not completely, just the marketplace itself. They're going to transition into, stop if you've heard this one before, into an NFT style or something along those lines. That's the same thing StarStock did. StarStock, just kind of revisiting marketplaces because if someone wants to drag me for this, whatever. Yeah, I did promote StarStock. I liked StarStock. I thought it was a good platform back in the day. They began the mismanagement, in my opinion, and I pulled everything off of it and made a video very publicly doing that. So, yeah. Did I do marketing for StarStock? Indirectly, yes. I was part of their affiliate program, but never did a full-blown ad work for them per se. And like I said, when things started going south there, I believe I was pretty public and pretty vocal about I didn't like what they were doing over there and pulled all my inventory off that platform months before it went completely sideways. So Dibbs is kind of following the path of StarStock, moving out of a marketplace platform. Obviously, two different marketplaces. One was physical cards that you could have sent home. Dibbs was a micro share marketplace. But both of them moving over to the NFT side of things, more power to them. In related news, Alt temporarily suspends ACH transfers to go along with Dapper. If you're not familiar with Dapper, NBA Top Shot. They are having trouble with ACH withdrawals. Once again, kind of all going back to the Circle provider. And then last but not least, Candy Digital as well, which they do some sports NFTs, some MLB stuff, and a couple other. I think they do some NASCAR stuff as well. They are affected by this as well. This is just basically a long story short of, because listen, I'm not an expert in ACH transfers and crypto banks going under and all this other shenanigans that's going on in the world. But if nothing else, if you have, this is a good, let me take a pause and evaluate things. Even if you don't have a lot of money on any of these individual platforms, it might not be a bad idea to kind of look around the room and take inventory of what you have floating around out there, especially if it's a decent chunk of change on this various marketplaces and platforms, and reassess your confidence level in them. And maybe you just don't want as much money parked on there as you initially have on there at the moment. So that's kind of what I want the major takeaway to be from this video, is a little self-reflection, that if you have a bunch of money sitting on an individual platform, take a peek at that and be like, do I really want this sitting on there? I get that it's super convenient to have it on there. I typically don't let my PayPal balance get too crazy. I have a lot of things go into PayPal, card related and content related. When it gets to a certain level, I have a number in my mind that when it hits that amount, I usually transfer that out of there into the bank, just because PayPal can do some shenanigans sometimes. So I like to keep a little bit in there just for day-to-day nonsense to keep transactions smooth and easy, but I do pull some off. One thing that I need to reevaluate personally is a lot of the stuff that I've been selling on eBay lately, and I don't have any major concern over any of these companies, but especially eBay, they're a massive platform, but still, when I get a couple grand on there, which I have $2,000 right now on my eBay account from selling over the last like 3 months. I cashed a little bit of it out, but generally speaking, when I sell a card on eBay, I just kind of let it sit in there. Part of the reason for that is I've been gearing up to make a bigger purchase, potentially a LeBron auto. And I figured an easy way to do that is just let that money kind of build up. And then when I decide that I want to go get one, or one pops up at a price that I like, that money's kind of sitting there. And, I like the term fake money, real money. That's just money that, I made from selling stuff on eBay. So when I go to pull the trigger on that, it's kind of like all these microtransaction eBay cards that I sold turned into a LeBron auto. So it's like one big trade. It's like I sold or traded these $250 cards or whatever it is of varying amounts and for a LeBron auto. But with all this nonsense going on, I think I may reevaluate that and pull a little bit more off and just stick it in one of the savings accounts that I have in the bank. Yes, traditional banks are under the scrutiny right now as well. Do your own homework on that. Make sure you're in something FDIC insured, all that jazz. But I am just taking a reevaluation of where I have money parked at on these random marketplaces. Now, I don't have a ton out there. Most of it's PayPal, most of it's eBay, and then some smaller amounts, 50, like I had $25 on Dibbs or whatever. That's fine. But it's not a bad idea to sit down and look at this stuff, reevaluate what you got out there, and maybe pull some of that back into your home base, for lack of a better term there. So, will Dibbs be the last? Probably not. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the other microshare / fractional companies went the same way. I just don't think it's that popular of a product, especially with card prices way down, because all these launched during the peak. So most of the things that you're invested into there probably haven't done super well. That is all I have for you boys and girls today. Everyone have a great weekend. Enjoy the NCAA tournament. Catch you on the next one. Peace.